Calling all Catholic homemakers, make this your year by setting these 10 intentions for 2025. So I'm going to set up these 10 achievable goals into 4 different groups. And the first group that I want to talk about is achieving little victories. The first one in this group is to set just small achievable goals throughout my day. So that might mean watering my plants on time. It might also mean getting the extra serving of vegetables. It might be doing the laundry late at night, even though I don't want to do laundry. Just things that are achievable that takes less than 10 minutes. And that's exactly what happened to me last night. I really didn't want to do laundry, but I was like, this will only take me like so many minutes. It's under 10 minutes and I can watch my TV show while doing it. And it was so nice because putting it in that perspective was like, okay, like I can do this. It will only take no more than 10 minutes. And to take it a step further, the second thing in this group that I want to talk about is celebrating those little victories. Because what's the point if like you just do it and then you just move on? You actually take the time to make note of it and then thank God for it. Definitely take the time and pray to God and say, thank you for giving me the ability and the time and the effort to achieve this small little victory. Because at the end of the day, like, we can't do anything without God. Like it's all through his strength. So this next group of goals that I want to talk about is time management. And so the first one in this group is to make time for God in the morning. And I'm not going to go into too much detail on how to do this because I do have a full article. I'll put that below. But essentially doing it, like actually each and every morning, taking that time to be with God. And this one I'm pretty good at, except for on the weekends, because weekends are just different. Like my whole day is different. Like the things that I typically do during the week, I don't do on the weekends. So making that time every single day throughout the week because it's important. And then to top it off, not feeling guilty about it because sometimes making time for God, it takes time. So whether it's me doing different prayers or even saying the rosary, like the rosary takes time to pray. Like it takes like a half hour. And sometimes it's like, I can't help but feel guilty. Like, I'm spending a half hour of my morning doing this. But the reality is I never regret doing it. I might feel guilty when I plan on doing it, but I never regret doing it. So just really taking that time and not feeling guilty for spending time with God. The fourth achievable goal that I want to talk about is taking the time to organize. And I have a full list of different essentials to really capture this organization, need. So I'll put that below. But yeah, just like taking the time to not just let the paperwork build up, but filing it away appropriately, being organized, whether it's finances, whether it's with money, like any area in life, like actually taking the time to organize the different things in the pantry, like just really organizing my space because it's a lot harder to function when things are not organized. The fifth achievable goal is going to be a little bit harder, at least for me, and that's to stop wasting time. And this definitely shines through with binge scrolling through Instagram, especially in the evenings. But even like making certain foods from scratch, that's really like there's very minimal benefit. Like for example, last year, my goal was to make more foods from scratch. So I'm like, okay, like I can do this, I can do that, I can do this. And it was super helpful for things like making breads, but not everything. And like, for example, like making Caesar dressing was one of those things I'm like, I just spent all this time making this dressing and for what? Like it really didn't have any type of like pro to it. Like the cost was probably the same. The flavor is actually worse. And maybe it's just the recipe that I used, but like it took a lot of time to do that. And the reality is like, it's not like I use enough Caesar dressing to really feel the negative impacts if there is anything in the Caesar dressing that I'm buying from the store. So things like that, like just not wasting time, being very particular with what I'm deciding to put my focus and spend my efforts on. The last goal in this section is to make more time for hobbies. And it doesn't have to be hours on ends, but like, for example, I like to go on walks, and sometimes I don't get to do that in my day. And it's unfortunate because going on a walk would help me. It would help clear my mind, getting the fresh air. Like, it's just a very beneficial thing. And so if I don't make time for that, then it's going to have a ripple effect in my life. So really taking the time to like actually be like, I need to make time. I need to set time aside to go for a walk, or even like spending time with my husband. Like, it doesn't have to be long period of time things, but just making that effort to put time aside to do those things. Okay, so this third category that I want to talk about is spending habits. And so the first one in this group is to curb frivolous spending, whether that's impulse buys on Amazon, whether that is spending money on groceries like the specialty cheeses. Like, I don't need to go all out. I can get one. I don't have to get like 2 or 3 or, whatever. Just things like that, like not making those poor spending decisions. It might also look like not eating out as much. And I do have a full video on things that you can do to kind of navigate when you don't feel like cooking. So I'll put that below. But yeah, just not spending nearly as much money on things that I don't need, which leads me to the next achievable goal in this list, and that is to know the value of the things that I'm buying. So this one's definitely going to be a big one for me this year because my husband and I are building a house. And so, for example, I ended up getting like a dry sink from my brother because he works in construction. And so I'm like, oh, like I can turn this into an actual like sink vanity. So I got the like bowl for it, and then I also got the faucet part for it as well. And so I'm doing the math and just like what it costs the materials, and it's like, geez, like if I didn't get this vanity for free, like if I had to spend money on it from like Facebook Marketplace or whatever, like at the end of the day, I'm really not saving a lot of money on like building it myself. And if anything, it's going to be a lot of time as well. So just knowing the value of what it costs to buy an actual vanity versus doing like a DIY, and if it's worth it, because at the end of the day, we're all limited to 24 hours. And if it doesn't make sense to make that purchase or do that DIY, then I need to know the value of what I'm getting out of either or. So the last group that I want to talk about is putting full trust in God. And so the first one in this particular group is to trust God in the moments where life is crazy or life is stagnant. I mean, for us, like we have some pretty major life events, i.e. building the house. So just putting full trust in God that everything is going to work out according to his plan. And I got to tell you, like we haven't even broke ground yet. And it's already like, oh my gosh, like how are we going to do it? So just taking that time, stepping back and being like, I need to trust God. Like God has everything already figured out. And if it's not meant to be, it's not meant to be. But I can't, I can't possibly think of all the outcomes because at the end of the day, like God's in control. So just putting that full trust in God. And then also trusting God when facing obstacles or inconveniences. I mean, even without the house build, life is just filled with inconveniences. So just taking a step back and being like, oh, like maybe I'm delayed from getting out of the house because I need to be somewhere at the right time. Or maybe this is happening because it's giving me the opportunity to really grow in my faith and grow as a virtuous Catholic homemaker. Like just having that step back moment and really thinking about what the overall plan is for my life and who I am, and trusting God that he has everything figured out and that he's not going to give me something that I can't handle. But that is all I have for today. Hit that subscribe button and I will see you next time. Bye.